welcome back to a brand new video. 2024 is officially here. Happy New Year's to everyone out there. I didn't get the chance to post it. Happy New Year's, it's finally here. And with the season today, I thought it would be appropriate to talk about the future of 2024 and discuss my top 10 most anticipated movies of this year. When it comes to a list like this, I just want to let everyone know that this is 100% my opinion. I'm not basing this off of fact. I'm just basing this off of what I am excited for this year and what I'm not very excited for. I don't think I'll make that video because I think it'll be a little mean. And honestly, just really quick, I do want to go over some honorable mentions because there is a lot of really interesting and good movies coming out this year that I am very excited about, but this is a top 10 list. Not every single one is going to make the list. If we were here talking about my top 25 movies of the year, we'd probably be sitting here all day. Honestly, at least I would, editing this video and making it happen. So top 10 it is, but we are going to talk about some honorable mentions. Furiosa, Alien Romulus, Ballerina, Joker 2, and Mickey 17. Don't get me wrong, I am really friggin' hyped for those movies, but they didn't quite make my top 10. But with that, I think I've been stalling enough. Let's just get straight into my main list with number 10. You may be wondering what my number 10 is, and personally, I only had one choice for this. It had to be on the list to some capacity because I am extremely excited for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I don't know if it's been a big thing on my channel. I haven't really talked about it a whole lot, but I am a really big fan of the Ghostbuster movies, specifically the main continuity, the reboot. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. I did not like that movie at all. But the main OG timeline is one of my favorite film series of all time. Ghostbusters 1 is a movie I always watch close to the Halloween season. It's very near and dear to my heart to me. I remember watching it a lot as a kid. I remember watching it in a big, open theater outside. It was a great time, so I have a lot of nostalgia for it. But the most recent movie, Ghostbusters Afterlife, I thought was surprisingly really good. Had a lot of really good things about it that I actually enjoyed. It had a new cast that I was quite a big fan of. And then it brought back a lot of the OG cast. It brought such a smile to my face, and just combined with everything, I thought it really made for a great movie and a really good send-off for the Ghostbusters franchise that I didn't really know if I wanted a sequel to, and that's the reason why this film is down at 10, because I'm not entirely sold with this movie quite yet. Sure, the plot does look kind of interesting. I do like this idea of this snowy New York wasteland full of ghosts and demons. I think that's a pretty good idea, and the trailer did give me a lot of hope that this movie can be kind of serious almost, but I'm just not sold yet. I think I need to see more of this movie to actually get a feel for what this movie's gonna be like, because I honestly feel this movie might just be a little bit unnecessary. But regardless of the fact, I am still excited for it, and if it is good, I'll be happy about it, honestly. And coming in at number 9, I have Kung Fu Panda 4. This is definitely a nostalgia pick for me. I remember watching the first 3 Kung Fu Panda movies as a kid. Kung Fu Panda 1 was one of the first movies I actually saw in the cinema. I saw it with my grandparents. Remember it fondly. I remember it to this day, actually. And the second one, I still remember trying to get my parents to take me to the cinema to watch it all those years back. And Kung Fu Panda 3, I think, is really good. Not to mention the fact this is one of DreamWorks', I like to say, big Hail Mary franchises. There has not been one bad Kung Fu Panda movie so far, at least to me. I know some people would argue 3, but I don't get it personally. I think it was very enjoyable. So I honestly couldn't help but be excited for this movie. I know there's some things going against it. I know Awkwafina's in the movie, which a lot of people don't like, and yes, I don't love her either. She does get typecasted, but I actually do like some roles from Awkwafina. I didn't mind her in Shang-Chi, and in The Bad Guys, she wasn't in it a whole lot, but she was fine. And considering she's sort of playing the prodigy to Poe, I think is a pretty cool idea. I like the character design. I like that they're bringing back all the OG villains into this new villain, the Chameleon, which I think is a very clever idea, and I'm very excited to see Tai Lung. Nothing but good things are coming out of this movie. I really hope DreamWorks delivers on this one and just gives me a really good 4th movie to this quadrilogy now. And moving up to number 8 on my list, I do have another animated movie coming in the form of Inside Out 2. I do have my doubts with this movie because Pixar's been going on a little bit of a decline recently. I hate to say it, but I still am very excited for this movie. The first Inside Out, I think, was one of Pixar's better movies in recent memory. Even though it's not super rewatchable or anything, I think it's a really good story, and I think a very important story. Because honestly, this is a franchise about growing up, and I think there's a lot more you can do with this premise. And there's a lot more different things you can cover with someone growing up, so I'm actually really happy that they're making another movie. But regardless of the fact, I am going to be there on June 14th watching this the first day it comes out, because I do have hope for this movie that Pixar Pixar is just going to make another really good movie. Going up to number 7 on my list, this is kind of a more surprising pick, and that's Beetlejuice 2. Very recently, I have become a fan of Beetlejuice. I watched that first Tim Burton movie just over a year ago, and I really fell in love with that movie. I thought it was very charming. I thought it was very funny. I love darkly comedic movies like this, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of Tim Burton. There's some things I like from him, like I like the very first Batman movie, and that's about it, actually. Besides the Beetlejuice, of course. Those were the only movies I liked from him. And ever since this movie got announced, I honestly was just really excited. I was really excited to see Michael Keaton again play Beetlejuice. How is it going to tie into the first one? Because I'm curious, because obviously some characters can't come back for this movie. And Jenna Ortega in this movie too. It's gonna sell tickets, we'll just say that. And going into number 6, this is one that I'm pretty sure no one knew existed. The Wolfman. I am really excited for this movie. This is a new Blumhouse movie. It's coming out, I believe it's October 25th. It's gonna be a Halloween release, which is pretty awesome. You know, Blumhouse usually likes to release horror movies around that dates. But you might be wondering, why am I so damn excited about a Wolfman movie more than anything this year? And very simply, that fact is because this film is being directed by Leigh Whannell. Now, some people may not know who that is from first glance or first hearing it, and this is the guy who was responsible for making 2020's The Invisible Man, which I wasn't around on YouTube at the time, but I just want to say I absolutely love that movie. That was my favorite horror movie of 2020. I've been eagerly awaiting another movie from him. He's been wanting to make this movie for a while, I believe, like the Universal Monster movies. This movie was originally supposed to star Ryan Gosling as the Wolfman, but he unfortunately dropped out, so we got another actor, but it's not the end of the world. I have a lot of faith in this guy. Leigh Whannell, I think, is a very talented filmmaker, and the fact that he's bringing me a werewolf movie, something that I've wanted to see for a long time, especially just being a scary one and a suspenseful one, not one of those cheap ones that is just a romantic comedy or something stupid like that. I thought we were gonna get a really good werewolf movie with The Cursed, which was released, I believe it was 2 years ago. Put it lightly, that movie sucked, so it sapped a lot of my energy out. I really want it to be good because I really like werewolf movies. I think there's something there, and I think there's something very scary that you can do with that premise that I've never really seen adapted into the live action format. But if there's anyone that can do it, I believe Leigh Whannell has got this in the bag. Here's hoping this movie is just absolutely amazing. Then going to number 5 on my list, I have Terrifier 3. This is one I am eagerly awaiting just for the sheer fact I want to see how brutal this movie can get. This movie isn't even out yet, and it's already caused a lot of drama on the internet. He really wants to make this movie super, I guess you could say, controversial. He says that there is some stuff in this movie that is going to get a reaction out of people, and that's probably just because of how damn violent it's gonna be. He pushes the boundary every time he makes a Terrifier movie. The first one was brutal. I reviewed the second film. You can go watch that on my channel. It really surprised me in terms of how violent something can really be, and with such a low budget. I really think the Terrifier movies and Art the Clown himself have really stapled himself into pop culture. I can definitely see Art the Clown, maybe a year from now, becoming one of the big horror characters. I can see him up there with Jason, Freddy Krueger, Ghostface, Chucky. And the Terrifier movies are very enjoyable, very bloody, and do have a lot of problems, but regardless are just really fun movies for horror fans, and considering that this movie is going to be taking place during Christmas as well, is very intriguing. I don't think we've gotten a Christmas horror movie in a while done to this extent with this popular of a character, and I'm really excited to see what they have in store in this movie. Next up, sitting at number 4, I have Nosferatu. This is the newest film being directed by legendary filmmaker Robert Eggers, who, if you don't know, has directed such films like The Witch and The Lighthouse, which I think personally are fantastic movies filled with style, very scary movies as well. They have something to say. They're one of those A24 movies that, you know, it's sort of a very specific kind of filmmaking where it's elevated horror, and I could be nothing but excited for this movie. I don't even really need a reasoning for this one, in my opinion. All you need to know is Robert Eggers is making a new horror movie this year and has some of the best names in the horror industry and a lot of recurring actors that he uses in a lot of his movies. Just take a really quick listen to this cast really quick. You got Aaron Taylor-Johnson, you got Willem Dafoe, Nicholas Hoult, Ralph Fiennes, and you got Bill Skarsgård himself. You know, Pennywise? Yeah, he's probably going to be playing the vampire Nosferatu in this movie. How can I not be excited? I have been so excited ever since this movie got announced, and the fact that gets me even more excited is that Robert Eggers himself has said on record he has actually wanted to make this movie ever since The Witch, I believe, which just, I'm so excited. That fact alone, the fact that he's really wanted to make this movie for that long, gives me nothing but excitement and confidence that this movie is just gonna be so damn good. But moving up to our top 3 and sitting firmly at number 3, we have Dune 2. I am very excited for this movie. This was definitely a surprising movie for me when it came out. I knew this movie was gonna be good. The director behind it is legendary. He's made films such as Blade Runner 2029 and Arrival, which I love, but this is definitely one of my favorite new sci-fi properties. I understand this movie is based on a book, but I don't read. Like, I can read, I don't read though typically, so I haven't read the book or anything. This movie was supposed to be released last year and did get delayed, but I'm really hoping that this year is finally the year we get to see it. Hopefully there's no more stupid delays. I really want to see how this franchise ends, because in that first movie, only thing that I'd even slightly say was a negative about that movie, in my opinion, was the fact that it was a two-parter. This was a movie very much meant to have a two-part or a sequel attached to it to explain certain loose ends that weren't explained in the first film, and I just really want to see where this franchise ends. I don't know if they'll actually make something past 2. I know that the book is pretty damn big, so that I'm sure they could make a third one if they want to. But honest to God, just the cast in this movie and the expectations that that first film set, I could be nothing but excited for this movie, and I hope it's really good. And at number 2, I would say we definitely have the film I am most scared about for this year, and that is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I haven't really talked about it on my channel before, but those first 3 Matt Reeves films are one of my favorite trilogies of all time. Like, I absolutely love those movies. Like, it's not an exaggeration. I think what Matt Reeves did in those first 3 movies is nothing short of absolutely amazing. The CGI in that movie was wonderful. The story and the slow evolution of these apes becoming basically humans and developing their society was fantastic. Caesar is one of my favorite protagonists ever, honestly, and had one of the best endings to a trilogy I've seen in forever. So the sheer fact that this movie exists kind of scares me. Like, I understand this movie is set 300 years in the future, but just the way the last film ended, I really didn't want another film from this franchise to slightly ruin it. I understand it's not in that main trilogy. The Matt Reeves movies are always going to be great, but I just always really wanted this franchise to have nothing but really good movies, and the fact that there's a 4th one being directed by someone who is not Matt Reeves kind of scares me. I do hope this movie is more than just a bunch of references to those older films, because I understand that the protagonist in this movie is going to be a relative to Caesar or an ancestor, and that's cool, but I really hope it just doesn't go back to the original that much. I hope it just tries to be its own thing and develop the lore even more, and if it does that in the movie, I will be nothing but happy, but just fingers crossed that this one is good, because I would be so upset if it turned out to be bad. And leaving 2 behind, we are finally at number 1. I think this one's pretty damn obvious considering that I'm a huge Marvel fan. Deadpool 3 is my most anticipated movie of the year. This one is also a very scary movie for me as well, because I do not want to be disappointed with this movie. Everything going on behind the scenes for this movie has me nothing but excited and just so giddy. I just want to see a trailer so goddamn bad, because everything that's been going on behind the scenes in this movie and that we've had little sneak peeks to get me so goddamn excited. This movie makes me feel like this is going to be the multiverse of madness that people were talking about before the actual movie came out, you know? Like, this movie was going to have everyone, like it was going to have freaking Nicolas Cage, it was going to have freaking Daredevil, you know? It was going to have everyone. Like, it was going to be this huge movie with all these different connections, all these other movies. And I'm not just saying that I want this movie to just be cameo fest the movie or reference the movie. No, I think the Deadpool movies have a really, really good firm handle on how to make really good stories. Very funny movies. Ryan Reynolds is absolutely awesome as Deadpool. I can't see him playing anyone else, and I can't see Deadpool being played by anyone else. And the fact that they got Hugh Jackman to come back as Wolverine, just, I can't wait. Honestly, I cannot wait. Those two in a movie together is going to be absolutely pure gold, and I cannot wait for July 26th when this finally gets released in theaters, and I can just have such a great time with it. But by God, Deadpool 3 is by far my most anticipated movie of the year, and there's no questions about it. But anyways, with that, if you like this video, please like and subscribe down below for more content on this channel coming pretty damn soon, and I'm going to see y'all in the next one. See ya.